Husband left for a no relationships cult, then came back expecting a warm welcome. I got married 6 years ago, but it ended in divorce 3 years ago. I have 2 boys with my ex-husband, Adam, who's 30. They're 4 and 5 now. I have full custody of them because Adam didn't want the responsibility of a family. We were married for 3 years. We had a life together, 2 kids, and were planning to buy a house to get out of the apartment. Then out of nowhere, he dropped the bomb. He wanted to be single and explore the world. We'd been together since high school, so he was all I knew. I was his first everything, and he was mine. I always thought we'd be together forever. I thought it didn't matter that he hadn't been with anyone else. But after 3 years of marriage, he suddenly told me he wasn't happy and wanted to be free of the weight of our marriage and family. He wanted to live his life, to explore. It sounded like one of those free spirit rants my dad used to talk about, and I didn't understand it. I thought he loved me, and he said he did, but he also wanted to love himself more. I even suggested opening up our marriage, just to keep us together. I was willing to do whatever it took, but he wasn't interested. He was determined to divorce me so we could both do this the right way. It broke me, and when I cried, he told me to have faith in our love. He said if we were meant to be, he'd come back to me. But he didn't come back. He packed his bags and left, saying he needed time to explore the world and be free. He didn't care about the kids or me. I asked him what he thought would happen to the kids, and he said I should leave them with someone I trust and go off on my own adventure too, so I could grow. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I didn't get how he thought it was okay to just run off, leaving his kids behind. He didn't care about raising them, protecting them, or meeting their needs. And that's when I knew he was completely off his rocker. I didn't fight the divorce anymore. I didn't contest it. The settlement was easy. He didn't want anything, and his family was rich, so child support wasn't an issue. He got visitation rights, but he barely used them. And when he did, I had to drop the kids off at his parents' place and wait in another room while he saw them. It was like he didn't even want to be reminded of our past. Those visits stopped after a few months. I didn't know why until later, when my friend Rachel told me. Turns out, one of Rachel's cousins was in Adam's new friend group. This friend group, about 6 or 7 men, had this weird idea that relationships were holding them back. They believed they shouldn't be tied down, and they made a pact to remain single. Adam got pulled into this group by a coworker, even though he was married with kids. They got him to believe he should shed the dead weight of his family. Rachel's cousin had told her all about it, and it made me sick to hear. Adam's friend group had actually convinced him that leaving me and our kids was the best decision. They were proud of it. Rachel had asked her cousin what kind of man would leave his wife and kids for a group like that. When her cousin pointed out Adam in a photo, Rachel connected the dots and told me. I was furious when I found out. Adam had thrown away his family to fit in with a group of idiots. At least if he had cheated on me with another woman, it would have been a better reason to leave. But this? This was just pathetic. I wanted to call him, yell at him, curse him out. But I didn't. I knew now that he was just insane, and nothing I said would change his mind. So I focused on raising my kids to be better than him. I worked harder, hired a nanny, and did everything I could to make sure my boys never felt abandoned. When I got home from work, it was all about them. They were my priority, and I wasn't going to let Adam's nonsense mess them up. My parents helped out a lot, and even my in-laws tried to pitch in from time to time, though they kept it to a minimum, probably out of shame for what their son had done. They were the ones paying the child support, which I knew, because Adam spent all his money on fancy trips to exotic places and high-end hotels. Now that he didn't have a family to worry about, he could blow all his money on that stuff without anyone saying a word. Meanwhile, I focused on raising my boys the best I could. Now, I have 2 amazing kids who are well-behaved, loving, and take care of each other. We've become our own little family, and I've mostly shut the door on my marriage because thinking about it just makes me angry. Work's been great for me. I've worked hard and am now making twice what I used to. Things have been going well for the past 2 years, and I honestly thought I had everything under control. Then, last week, out of nowhere, Adam showed up after being completely absent for almost 3 years. It was a Sunday, and my kids and I were at home. We're in a good financial spot now, enough to buy a house, but I haven't moved because I love this apartment. It's cozy, and the commute to work is easy. I should have moved though, because, unfortunately, Adam knew where to find me. He just showed up at the door out of the blue. I couldn't believe it. After 3 years of nothing, there he was. He had this big bouquet of roses and a smile with tears in his eyes. I didn't feel anything except anger. I didn't let him get a word out before I slammed the door shut so hard I could feel the floor shake. I told the kids to go inside because I knew this was going to turn into a fight, and I didn't want them to witness it. As soon as they were out of sight, Adam started whining about how this wasn't the welcome he was expecting. I could tell he was holding back tears, and it only made me more furious. He had the nerve to act like he was the victim after everything he'd done. He went on to say that he was sorry for everything, that he regretted leaving, and he wanted his old life back. I couldn't believe it. Part of me wanted to hear the apology after 3 years of never getting closure, but I just wanted to tear him down. I wanted him to know that we were better off without him, and no one had missed him. He rambled on about how the last couple of years had been fun, but he felt empty without anyone to come home to except for empty hotel rooms. He said the traveling high wore off, but he stuck with it because he was too afraid to come back. He thought he had to stick with this new life, but now he wanted to return to us. The more he spoke, the more I wanted to punch him. I couldn't listen anymore, so I told him to leave us alone, that we weren't his family anymore. But Adam, being Adam, thought he could change my mind by just begging me to come back to him. After a while, it started to get on my nerves, and I had to go serve dinner to the kids, so I hit the door and yelled out that we weren't his family anymore, and he needed to go. That got through to him, because I didn't hear him anymore after that. After the kids ate, I called my lawyer and told her what happened, just to be on the safe side. Then, I called my parents and filled them in on what had gone down. They reassured me that I did the right thing. I didn't call my in-laws, I didn't know what to say to them. I was sure they'd find out from Adam anyway. Not long after, I got a call from Rachel. She's always been a good friend, and I knew she'd have some update on Adam. Sure enough, she told me that her cousin had contacted her. He'd been part of Adam's new group of friends and knew everything that had been going on. Rachel and I had a deal that if her cousin found anything out about Adam, he'd pass it on to her. Apparently, after Adam disappeared, her cousin stopped feeling proud of himself for converting him. I don't blame Rachel's cousin for that, I blame Adam for being so easily influenced. But at least now I had all the information I needed. Rachel's cousin kept me updated, even reaching out to apologize after he realized what Adam had done. I forgave him because I didn't hold anything against him, but we're not friends. I'm just focused on moving forward, and at least now I know Adam's been up to the same old nonsense. Rachel's cousin reached out to her to tell her the full story about why Adam had come back. Turns out, Adam had texted his group of friends right before showing up at my door. He told them everything about what he was planning to do. They all tried to be supportive, but Adam lashed out, feeling betrayed by them. He said he left everything behind, his wife, his kids, and went off to have fun, but now they were all in relationships, and he was the only one left behind. The guys, now pushing 30, didn't live by the same no-ties mentality they had in their 20s. Some of them were already in serious, long-term relationships, and one was even engaged. Adam couldn't handle the fact that the guys had moved on. They'd congratulated him when he left, but now they were all living the life he once thought he wanted. He was mad at them for betraying him by settling down, and he wanted an apology for them encouraging him to leave his family in the first place. Of course, they didn't apologize because, as they pointed out, they never told him he had to leave us to fit in with their group. They just didn't want him to think he had to live like they did to be accepted. Adam's problem was his own. He made the choice to leave, and now he was feeling the pressure to get back into the life he thought he wanted. So, after all that, Adam showed up at my door, not because he truly felt empty or because he missed us, but because he was desperate to fit in again now that most of the group had settled down. He wasn't looking for redemption, he was just looking to find his place again. When I heard all of this from Rachel, I got so mad. I'd felt a little guilty for turning him away, but now I knew the truth. and I wasn't going to let him back in. I'd spent 3 years raising our kids on my own, and I wasn't going to let him come back and ruin all the progress I'd made. I hadn't gotten any closure from him before, but now, with this new information, I knew I wasn't going to feel bad about it. For the next few days, I didn't hear from Adam. Even though I asked Rachel to check with her cousin, he had no idea what Adam was doing because Adam had blocked all of them after the fight. That made things harder for me since Rachel's cousin had been a great source of information about Adam's movements, but now that he was blocked, I was left in the dark. Adam was the type to discuss everything with his friends before making a decision, so I figured something was brewing. But now, with no one to update me, I was left to wait and wonder. 3 days ago, my in-laws called me, and I was caught completely off guard. I had no idea what to expect. They called me to talk about what I'd said to Adam when he showed up at my door. They told me they'd been paying child support, that they'd been there for the kids, and I had no right to say they weren't a family anymore. We argued for a bit because they were defending him, and it ended with me hanging up on them. I've been thinking about it, and honestly, I can't understand how I'm wrong here. My in-laws are right that they held up their end of the deal with the child support, and Adam still has visitation rights, but he hasn't used them in forever. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do right now. On one hand, I want my kids to have a father, even though I know I'm enough for them at the moment. But on the other hand, I don't want to deny him anything if it's his right. I don't even know if it's legally my place to make this call, but all I can think about right now is what's best for the kids. Was I wrong for telling Adam that we aren't his family anymore after he abandoned us for 3 years? Update 1. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the advice and support. I've decided to go ahead and file to change the custody arrangement so he doesn't have visitation rights anymore. I don't know if it'll work, but it's worth trying. My parents support it, and even though Adam's been paying child support, he's done nothing else. I've raised my kids while he was off living his life. He doesn't get to come and go as he pleases when it's convenient for him. Update 2. I filed for the termination of Adam's parental rights today, and honestly, I regret not doing it sooner. I should have done this as soon as he stopped showing up for the kids after the first few months, but here we are. A lot of people here had things to say about me making this move, but I changed my mind about not depriving my kids of a father. They never had a present one to begin with, so I don't see how it's going to hurt them now. Adam was absent for 3 years, and now he's taking a permanent leave. He can go live his life, but not at the cost of my kids' well-being or my peace of mind. Update 3. I didn't manage to get his parental rights fully terminated, but now his visits have to be supervised by me. It's not ideal, but at least he can't push us around anymore. If he wants to prove he's capable of being a real father, maybe we can renegotiate later, but for now, this is the best we're going to get. As for me, there's no chance of us getting back together. When he tried to talk to me after the court hearing, I snapped and told him I knew exactly why he was back. He wanted to fit in with his friends. I told him to go marry them instead because I was done. I told him that if he wasn't the father of my kids, I wouldn't even spit on him. Then I walked off with the kids, leaving him and his parents standing there, mouths open. It was honestly pretty satisfying. That's where I stand now. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm glad it worked out for the kids. They're my top priority, and if Adam can finally step up as a father, maybe they won't have to go through life without him. But if he tries anything again, he'll regret it. He's already messed with my head enough, but I won't let him do it to the kids.